Ready?
Okay. We're going.
Live? We're live?
Yeah. No, definitely not live. No way.
As live as we're gonna get right now.
Dude, I just heard like a lot today too about like on Joe Rogan, like to talk
Oh
about
yeah.
people that can't, that like don't have the money or whatever, don't have a voice or something like that because they can't have a podcast or something like that. And I'm like, I've just been thinking, and I see all this other stuff where these like multi-million-dollar celebrities have like the stringed headphones. It's like
The whole set.
so $100 at like some earbuds, man, or whatever. I mean, it was a
The earphones, the microphone, like all that shit.
Yeah, especially if you're like a news media person now, like that's your main thing. But whatever, and you can literally do it on your phone, just like without the Zoom or whatever. Just go Anchor on
For
Spotify.
free. Do it for free.
Lets you do it. Yeah, they have it all set up.
It's the year of the podcast too. It's the year of the Zoom, and it's the year of the podcast, man. I've seen so many people, just random ass people, just starting podcasts out of the blue.
Dude, I have seen none of that actually.
Really? Yeah, I
I'm
saw
like
somebody.
at Tech. You may have some different folks or whatever, but I didn't see anybody in College Station talk about it or anything like that, or definitely nobody from like didn't.
Talk about podcasts?
Yeah, like doing something like that or anything like that. Like so many people, I don't know, it was like 80% of the world or of Americans were paycheck to paycheck before the pandemic. So it's like the pandemic. So now it's like nuts. I'm
Honestly,
sure,
with quarantine and like
I
everything
feel like
going
nobody
on,
can
man.
do anything that they want to as easily.
That's definitely true, man. I was thinking about it at the gym today. Is like all this quarantine crap is just, I swear, it's turning everything to shit. Like they can't clean the clubhouse up at the apartment complex like they normally do, so the gym is just getting dirty. The pool has been closed for like 2 weeks, and there's people out there cleaning it, but it is the worst I've ever seen it. And I was just like, man, this place used to look pristine all the time. Just because of quarantine, just because they can't do the things that they would normally do, it's all going to absolute shit, at least on the outside it would appear. It's BS. It pisses me off. Like the world could just be going on as normal as it normally would have. I wouldn't have had to waste my Jordan year on quarantine.
Okay, now we're talking about the COVID. I just like, man, the more you hear about that and the more you really do, like, even if you like really do research. Willow, come here. But even if you don't, even if you just follow like the CDC, like, I know everybody wants to go like, oh, no, it doesn't mean that 6% of people or whatever the stat was, right? Like only 6% of people only died because of that. Like they didn't have underlying conditions. But then it's like, okay. Then you read something somewhere else where it's like, oh, it's like an average of like 37K per like COVID case of like assistance you get or something like that.
Yeah, they're racking up.
You're not allowed
money
to have any other kind of
things.
treatment or anything else besides COVID. So it's like, yeah, you're gonna take that, and then it's only 200,000 deaths also. So it's like the weakest. I feel like the weakest of the weak.
But people will also say
the people that have died, the average other conditions that they had were like 2.6, and it's like serious conditions. But it's like 2.6. Who do you know? Like, okay, even even if like think of somebody that has like freaking cancer. You know what I'm saying? Like my great grandmother had cancer, but she didn't have anything else. If you have something like that, like odds are like you're probably not getting hit in 2. That's an average, dude, of 2.3, and then the age is something like 60 plus basically. So it's like
Has
dude,
no,
it's not.
yeah.
I'm not saying it's
Retirement
like
age.
not a bad thing
You have to be
get or
retired to
anything
die
like
from
that.
COVID.
I don't want to get it or anything like that. But it's like, I'll be fine. And it's not like,
You will.
dude, the issue that I have is that for whatever reason this, and it has low numbers compared to whatever else you want to talk about, and even just by the CDC, it's just how, you know what I mean? How are we letting this happen to our to everything else?
Well, it's all
Because
paranoia, man.
when
It's all paranoia. Everything's going to shit because of the paranoia. I swear.
well, no, it's the political thing of it, and that's
Well,
because
the
it's
politics is
political, it's in the
creating
media,
paranoia.
and the media portrays it like panic or whatever because everybody hates that bad
Well,
order.
there is panic in the streets. Not so much in Texas. I mean, it may be in Dallas and Austin for a little bit, but I mean,
I
especially in
saw
places
some
in
of
the
it in
north, like
Dallas
there's
when I
panic.
was
There's
Ubering
panic out
around.
there. It's just not around here so much.
No, it just hasn't gotten here yet, but it will. It's
You
going to
think?
different other.
You think it's
Yeah,
traveling here from
I saw
somewhere?
some stuff. I saw some stuff while I was Ubering. Not like anything crazy. But there were definitely people out in mass in Dallas. And did you ever see the video where they had
Like with bad intentions?
they didn't look too friendly, but and it was mostly unorganized. It looked, but you
I'd
see the
say most
videos
of
of
the
the
riots are
bricks.
pretty
You saw the
unorganized.
videos of the bricks that
Yeah,
people had set
pictures of
up in
bricks that
Dallas.
just mysteriously appeared there
Yeah, well, I
one
saw
morning.
those, so it's like I saw
Must
those with my
be
eyes.
something to it. Or
Well,
Antifa
it just didn't pop off here because
allegations.
it doesn't have the base here yet, but it's gonna creep. I feel like more.
I mean, do you really think so, man? I don't know. I feel like Texas is pretty rock solid as far as states go.
I hope so.
I feel like people here. I feel like a lot of people here have it better than in other states. So I feel like the likelihood.
Well, because they don't tax the crap out of it. I never do, and that's the deal. Good Lord, that's the deal, man. It's like, do you remember in high school, ever talking about? This is only 5 years ago, right? Ever talking about politics, or was that ever in anybody's conversation?
I remember the kids that did talk about politics, and I did not want to talk with them.
No, that's what. Yes, and it was also very few, but yes, no, nobody.
Uh-huh.
And
everybody was just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Get out of here.
It's because that's why the biggest block of voters is non-voters. It's 100 million people or something like that.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
It's a third. So it's the biggest. They always want to throw
It's a shit ton.
white voters, whatever. It's non-voters or because nobody cares about this stuff, and we shouldn't have to.
It's hard to care about. It's hard to care about whenever all the politicians it's so obvious that they're all so full of shit.
It's in your face now with media, and now that the news and whatever else decide to all anybody wants to talk about. But at the same time, people are muttering civil war type stuff across the board. So
I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't buy that.
I kind of, dude, I don't know. You gotta check out Portland. Portland, it's been 100 days rioting. So yeah.
Yeah, well, isn't that the area where there was
we don't see it
of people who had gone rogue? I mean, there's people going rogue up there and establishing their own little
Chaz and whatever.
What's the word? They're on little anarchist settlements. People just walk around the streets with rifles and shit.
Autonomous zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's scary. Now that's the type of shit that will create paranoia for everybody else.
I promise you, if you hear.
But that's an extreme. That's an extreme scenario. Nah, dude, not to Texas.
Dude,
it's not gonna. People, I feel like people have more common sense than that around here. There might be
maybe around here, man, but it doesn't matter around here. It doesn't matter around here. It matters if enough up there. You know what I'm saying? It won't be our.
I feel like it's got a. I mean, it was getting intense there for a little bit, maybe a couple months ago. But I mean, and I don't really watch the news because I mean, I really don't like the news, but it
No,
seems
nobody
like
does.
some of
The
it
only people,
is
the
like
only things I watch
quelling.
are like Louder with Crowder. Do you ever watch that?
I don't think so.
No.
Probably not.
You ever seen that? Here's Change My Mind meme. The guys at the table.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Crowder. He does all those videos. Yeah.
Change my fucking mind, dude.
But yeah, man. It's almost like you're forced to. Who's his name? Brian Callen said something like, and I don't think he said this recently, but he says this all the time or whatever. But it's like, if you don't get into politics will get into you. Like, basically, if you don't know what's going on, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you might just want to know a little bit of what's going on.
Well, I mean, they say it all the time. Like one of our main jobs as citizens is, and it's kind of like an unwritten rule. One of your main jobs as a citizen is to keep yourself informed, at least.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If nothing else, it's just there's so much BS out there, and people go around thinking that they're informed whenever they're just feeding off the BS that people are giving to them. I mean, I feel like there's so little ability to be able to actually determine what's good information and bad information.
Well, you can pick it up in like the way that like obviously when I watch like Crowder or Ben Shapiro or something like that, obviously I know their views, but like and then when I listen to like Pod Save America or something like that, something on the left, it's just like it's such a stark difference now of like just the wording. Like you can just hear the repeated wording on the left, like repetition. It's all the news things are in sync and like everything like that, and it's just like ugh, you know. And then you listen to 3 different guys on the Daily Wire, and they're all talking different things. They just are. It's just common sense. You know what I'm saying? Like it just sounds like regular talk. Versus over here, it's like just so angry and yada yada and Trump this, Trump that. Anything you listen to over there, it's just like Trump this.
The drastic differences for sure. Most of the time, anyways. I've never met or heard of any liberals that even really. I mean, neither side really tries to see it from the other point of view. Neither of them even really trying. You know, they can. Most people who are politically like in politics and like don't let the politics get to them, they never share perspectives. They never try and see things from both point of views. Like they just don't.
Well, and it just depends on like that's what I was trying to say is like it depends on literally what you watch and what you watch depends on like you know what I'm saying, like somewhat, you know, that's what I'm saying, like usually it doesn't matter. It didn't matter like what, like it wasn't in a conversation like any kind of politics or anything. Now that Trump, a media personality, made his way into politics and it's just this raging bull in the China closet. You know what I'm saying? Like people, it's like
all the time.
Now it's like all they focus on because he's bad for them. So
it's
now
almost
it's like
people are throwing
now
China
it's the conversation.
at the bull,
now it's the conversation. Yeah, because it's like what.
Even if the bull's just standing there, people are sitting there throwing plates at the bull, and like, of course, there's a lot of agitators, a lot of instigators.
Yeah, but just like everybody says, it's like the loudest of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Like the left and the right or whatever.
There's just no in between with these people. Absolutely no in between whatsoever.
Like again, is I am so annoyed that it was just never a conversation, and like especially
like we all learned about bubble diagrams. We all know what a Venn diagram is, but nobody's using the center.
Think about it. Well, think about it. How many of our friend group signed up for like the Army or like
4
or something like
or
that?
5.
Where where 5 years
bunch
ago
of
had nothing to do with like political. Nobody in high school was talking like conservative, Republican, liberal, Democrat, anything like that. They were just talking about concert and like those type of people. And then people that were in media were just like, videos are cool, but, and now it's like, oh, you have to, if you do this, you have to do this and this and that or whatever.
Well, people will just assume that you do, like based on what comes out of your mouth. People will just make
or just based on
assumptions
how
out
you
of
look or
nowhere.
how you dress, like somebody was talking about.
Like I look like your typical Republican,
If
and
you're just a
like most
skinny white
people,
guy, they just
most
assume
people
you're a
will
Republican.
go for that. Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. I walk around feeling like a Republican because I feel like people are looking at me that way. And like, I mean, I agree with their ideas, but like, yeah, like if I wear a red hat, even if it doesn't say MAGA, I feel like I'm in trouble already.
Yeah. People like people are trying to like just flip the whole thing, and for whatever reason, dude, I cannot even explain any of it, and I just can't believe that it's like, especially like right now in the shutdown, like especially at certain times, that was the only thing that anybody was paying attention to. It was like, holy cow, I don't know any of the stats. It was like 30 million unemployed or something like that, right? Or something. And like I said, 80% already paycheck to paycheck. So definitely everybody's behind on their bills, like they're in bill or something. And it's not like, dude, that's 80%. So yeah, I'm talking. It's like everybody, and like even, and it drives me nuts when it is like, yeah, if your government, you do need to know what's going on, and you do need to not live in a place and you do need to vote the right way, because otherwise you'll be like California and get taxed like 40% or whatever the hell it is right now, or
So bad.
whatever, right? It's ridiculous.
I
And
would never want to live there.
yeah, so, and that's what I'm saying. And then also the cost of living there is like, God, it's just nuts. And so, but the conversation is always like people want to blame, like people get hooked onto this now that the media is running politics and this and that all the time. People get hooked onto it because it's like people today have this attitude of like the easy way out, like gimme, or whatever. Like, how many people, like there's so many, like, I don't know the percentage, but good grief, in like College Station, a third of the jobs available, 2/3 of the jobs available were like food service. So it's like all kinds of minimum wage. Like that's almost all that's out there, especially for like entry level. If you don't have a
This
degree or
time,
a
yeah.
trade or this and that, but
Unless you got something locked
it's
up,
like,
it's pretty solid.
yeah, and also like everything's. But the conversation is not, people want to like blame, oh well, if the government did this and that, if they gave us universal basic income, this, that. Like, there are things that yes could be done and that could improve, like the government could do better because they do a crappy job, whatever. But like, half of the reason that 80% of America was paycheck to paycheck stat, BC before COVID, uh, I mean, it's just like, you name it. It's like the dude with the Gucci belt, the girl that eats Starbucks every day. I mean, like, if you just eat like a meal at Whataburger, say it's like $10, right? And Nerd Wallet or something will tell you like a little bit more than this. But just in my head, I did this, like, if you can eat off groceries and keep it under like $10 a day, and that's $300 a month, and nobody looks at it like that. And if you're eating Whataburger 3 meals a day, right, or something, Starbucks or something, you're gonna average like $10, right? Let's say. And like I said, some say the math is a little bit higher, but like $10, that's already $900 a month. So it's like, I used to sell cars or whatever. It's like you're paying for a you know, Chrysler 300, right?
Mhm.
It's the difference between that and paying for a brand new Jeep Rubicon. It's like, first of all, nobody would let you pay for that Jeep Rubicon, like the people we're talking about, right? And you know, you got bad credit, or you got, you know, you work $8 an hour,
Live paycheck to paycheck, no savings.
No, trust me, walking to a dealership and try like reversing this logic and like saying, you know, if I save this amount of food, then whatever, then I can afford this. You'll get laughed out of the dealership. Like, we don't care. But $900 a month, man. I mean, that is that's rent, and a lot of places you go and like whatever else.
Bills will eat that up quick, and then there's only a couple hundred left at the end of the month.
People
or whatever
will
else.
not even notice that, and you know, it's probably equivalent amount of going out and blowing $50 a month, or $50 a weekend, or definitely way more than that. But it's like 150 bucks a weekend, drinking alcohol and going crazy, or whatever, or even just like the tool, bro. Like it's just people just spend out of their means at whatever point they're at.
Well, I feel like almost to a degree
And I did
that's
the
kind
same.
of like what the American dream has come to. Like people used to, I mean, I feel like the American dream has kind of changed through the generations, and today, like that's kind of what it is. Like live paycheck to paycheck, get what you can, don't give anything back, and get that Gucci belt or get that car if you can, and maintain it for as long as you can until you maybe find something better or maybe don't. It's about having like the material value of something and being able to show that material value to everybody that you know. And I feel like that's kind of what the American dream has sort of come to a little bit. I mean, people are living that way,
It's like, well,
suspended to the edge of their means because they believe something better is just around the corner whenever they're not actively actually trying to do anything to attain that.
or
They're
get
just
like that short term, like why, like the short term goals, like, oh, I can't wait to get this T-shirt,
short-term gratification.
whatever. And yeah, but it's like,
They want immediate gratification
well,
for their efforts.
yeah, well, nobody wants to like just live on, like there should be an easier balance. Yes, like
Nobody wants to live on eggs, Nick.
should be better options, like the minimum wage, change,
Nobody wants to eat nothing but eggs all day.
whatever else.
Eggs and chicken.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
People want Whataburger. They want the Gucci belt. They want the nice car, and they don't care what they have to do except save. They just don't want to save.
Well, and that's like what I get irritated is everybody thinks like saving money just makes me like people like us. Like anytime, because okay,
You can't
we
show
got
that
taught
off
in high school
until later.
Well, we got taught on like in school or anything, which is basically nothing. They used to actually have like finance classes. They do in Oklahoma a little bit, but
They never told me about them.
I mean, you talk to anybody about any kind of finance, like any average guy, and they're going to talk about something about like compound interest savings or some bull. And it's like, okay, you
don't even know what that means.
I'll stop you right there because your savings account is the best one you're going to find is like a fucking 0.5%. So that's not doing anything for anybody, no matter what you're compounding or doing whatever. And man, I remember, and I obviously had to recently like sell all of them, but whatever. I was making like 10, 12%, 10, 15%, whatever, on stocks and Bitcoin, just kind of doing the thing. And I didn't know anything, like,
You're
like,
doing it.
Yeah, and it's like, especially like right now, when all the stocks are down, like whatever, or they were, but they're not anymore. They're doing just fine. But
oh really? How about that?
Yeah, which makes me think that like people don't believe in this thing.
The stock market?
Anyways, yeah.
You're talking about? Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you right now, a lot of people don't. I mean, it was just created. It was just a way for people to make money. Like it's literally came from nowhere. We didn't evolutionize the stock market. Like it's only like what, a couple of decades old. How old is the stock market? I don't even know. Was it here in the 1900s? Was it here in the early 1900s? Huh. How old?
I don't know.
I mean, I could see maybe in the 1920s, maybe there were stocks, but I kind of doubt it. I mean, I feel like it's a relatively new, is it like half a century old maybe?
Okay, the market on Wall Street opened in 1792. So we're
1792? Are you kidding me?
yeah, Wall Street. Yeah.
Who had access to it in 1792?
Yeah.
The stock market's almost 200 years old. You gotta be kidding me. There's no way. Well, I mean, okay, maybe the stock market was there, but when did the stock market become popularized? When did it become marketed as like, here, come and buy some stocks and then leave them there for a little bit and then buy
See,
some more
no.
stocks, never
That's
cash
what
them
you're
out?
thinking. That's where you're. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you said that. Look, it's because nobody talks about it. Do you think any of these guys like? That's what I learned. That's one of the things I learned when I was selling cars. Like, no, some of these jobs are like 100% hustle. You know what I'm saying? Just like your oil field guys, that's 100% hustle. Like sales, 100% hustle. Wall Street, 100% hustle. That's sales. And none of those guys have a degree we're talking about. Neither does anybody in Congress or you know what I'm saying, any kind of politician. But that's beside the point.
It's a fugazi.
Dude, I'm telling you,
It's
is like
Swazi, it's Swazi.
if people would learn at a young age, if I would have known at a young age, like to start, and now it's like so easy with the Cash App, you can just literally move it Bitcoin to your Cash App balance to stocks, like to your Cash Card, and Cash Card does your Cash Boost to like it has discounts everywhere. Like it's so easy, but like nobody talks about that. And once you start doing a little bit of research on like stocks and real estate investment and literally anything, flipping couches, like it's not rocket science, and it is like 100% hustle and stuff that like anybody could do. And
It's definitely very
now that it's on
unspoken
the
about.
app, you literally look at the little and you go, okay, 1 month, and you look at the
The
little
arrows,
and you go,
little green
and you go 1
arrows,
year, and
green
you go,
up,
okay.
red down.
And you know what? If you don't know anything, like Apple and Ford ain't going nowhere. So throw it there.
Yeah, no doubt. I don't know. There's also an issue that a lot of people don't trust the stock market. A lot of people just don't even want to mess with it because they don't trust it.
Well, if that's what I'm saying is if you look a little bit into it, and I guess maybe I'll be more prepared. But if you look a little
It
bit
was
into it, man,
devastating.
like,
It's been devastating to the country a couple of
it
times.
goes.
Just a bunch of stacking dominoes.
Yeah, but it's only devastating to the country because the country. It's not like I think the stock market. You know what I'm saying? Like crashed. Okay, so like when was I'm not a history buff on this, but like when else has the stock market crashed? It was in the 1920s, right?
Yeah, pretty sure.
That's one time. So that was from. I think you start looking at history there, and the first thing that comes to my mind, especially right now, flu. So does that probably have anything to do with it? Like that was a legitimate pandemic.
No
And
doubt.
then like
But I mean, like that's the thing. That's the thing is that it's history that the stock market will crash, and people don't usually know or realize when it's about to happen, and so it's bound
yeah,
to
and it'll
happen
come
again.
back, and you should have a balance of like Bitcoin and gold.
But I mean, the other thing about it is that every person I've ever known who has
I'm not saying throw all your stock. I'm not saying like throw all your stuff in the stock market. I'm saying like if it's very easy to see a different, like okay, the the only thing that you really, especially I don't know about like Prosper or whatever, but definitely Denison or whatever, that it's like the idea is like I'm gonna work this $10 an hour job, and then in 5 I'm gonna get 15 now, and then by the time in 20 years into it, then I will have $25 an hour and retire for $1,500 a month. Woo! I'm 65 and broken. Like, oh my God. No. I like, anything but that. So that's what I'm saying is
It's
like,
just a
it
cycle.
doesn't matter what.
That's what everybody
Like,
does.
that's all that's like, it's all this push. Like, save your money and da-da-da and whatever. It's like, oh my gosh, grind and hit until you have $1 million saved up, which is impossible to do on working. And then, like, any of the rich
Especially
guys
considering
out there,
Social
any of the
Security is not even
millionaires,
going to be
it's something
around.
like some kind of stupid low number. I don't know the stat. Some kind of stupid low number is what they is their like comes from their 9 to 5. Like it literally is all about like what you do with your money. And like I don't have any right now to be making moves or anything. But dude, you see all the stuff like the mindset too. Like as long as you're like educating yourself and preparing and doing what you can at the time, then eventually, you know what I'm saying, you'll figure it out or whatever. And right now it's like extra hard for everybody and yada yada yada. But
Well, it's extra hard anyways. People usually have a bunch of problems to deal with besides that, and whenever you add that into the mix, that's just
it's
honestly
the older you get,
that's
too,
how
that's
the
what I'm
saying
saying. Is
goes.
like at
More
an
money,
early
more
age,
problems.
I
It's
can't
just
believe
another
at an
problem
early
to worry
age, like
about.
earlier, the younger you are, the more opportunity you have to take risks. Like anybody will tell you that. So, and the older you get, the more, because the older you get, the more like responsibilities pile on. Like you meet a girl, like yada yada, start living with her. You have fucking 9 cats
Yeah.
and 2
Most
dogs
people
in
don't
here.
even want to worry about it. It's just not even something they want to worry about. A lot of people are just honestly, a lot of people don't have any interest in that sort of thing. There's nothing you can really do about those kind of people. It's just their
No,
mindset.
it's not like anything. It's about like, oh my gosh, like you save $200. Like don't just keep saving $200 a paycheck for 20 years.
Somebody invest it. Invest the
Do
$200.
stuff with your money. At like I just see
Not a
so
Gucci belt.
yeah, seriously. Like and invest it into whatever. Like what's it called? Cash App Nick San Millan 19. The cash symbol, Nick San Millan 19, taking donations for podcast. I'm doing this with like that's what I'm saying is like I also is people just may want to take the easy way out. So like and I am just as guilty as everybody else. But like you know what I'm saying? I've been working out. I gotta go join a jiu-jitsu gym or something. And
You do. You need to do it. You have to.
In the process of going to be a cop, like I took their exam and passed it and everything else. So like I'm waiting. But dude, like, and turns out, I mean, I have a laptop and a phone, and I just couldn't figure out in time. I was getting annoyed how to record on the phone to Zoom, but you can do it. Everybody has an iPhone. Like people on welfare checks and business and taxes have iPhones. Like so
Unless you have
anybody
an
could
Android.
use something like this. Okay, whatever, and like or whatever. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter, and you can get a $10 amount like I did and do it right there, or just off of your laptop, like my laptop. Like people, oh my god, like how many people do you know that either just like at our age, either just when they're done, right? If they're in a relationship, they just like when they're done with work, they go and just like have wine or something and watch Netflix, or
Just
like
chill.
they go out.
They just waste their time.
And waste time. Waste time.
But that's what people want to do. They want to waste their time in their life until their life is over. Life is painful. People love to waste time and get away from life. It's an escape. It's a distraction.
Anything. This is an escape. Anything is like.
No doubt, it's a distraction. It eases the edge of life.
Well, if that's, dude, and if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But like,
yeah, more power to them.
I know what I'm talking about is people see this linear thing of like this linear path of 10 an hour, 15 an hour, and I'll work my way up.
That's how it
But
works.
there's so many
Usually,
other
if
routes,
you're
and
lucky.
everybody who makes legitimate money, you know, not just like your pop who makes 80 to 100 grand a year, and so does mom, and they live in a nice house. Like, no, legitimate money. They, like, none of their stuff is off their 9 to 5. Like, and their 9 to 5, like, people make enough, and then once they make enough money, they're not doing anything for sure. You know what I mean? Like, they don't have a 9 to 5. They're just managing assets. It's all about, like, and I've seen my buddy do it just in the past like few months. Jamie Urena, who's one of my army boys. He what's it called? He does this like stock thing. He's been trying to do his multimedia thing or whatever, and he got on to me because I haven't been going to the VA and using my benefits because but I finally went, and but he's just been like hustling on that, like whatever you can do, just put, you know what I'm saying? If you put an hour into something, you know, eventually.
An hour a day, 7 hours a week.
I don't know.
And that's like, yeah, it ends up being like over 50 hours a month, and just put in an hour a day.
Like the main thing out there right now. You can do it like that. If you want to,
it's very easy.
Start like recording music. SoundCloud's out there for free. A mic is like a really decent one. It's like $400, really good one.
You just got to invest a little bit to be able to do a lot.
That's what I'm saying. And you got to do it the right way. It's all about whatever. But that's like that's the issue, bro, is that people will buy a new car before they even get the first paycheck from the raise.
People tend to get a little ahead of themselves for sure.
And
I feel like that's kind of human nature.
I'm saying I don't want to sit here and say, oh, I'm at rock bottom right here, and that's one of the points of me wanting to do this right now, and I wanted to do it for the last few months. Is like at any point, you know what I'm saying? Like at any point, like this dude, Pat McNamara, he's like this ex-Army Green Beret guy, whatever. He was on Joe Rogan. He talks about like one good day or whatever, and like, man, and you know, he has this whole good thing on it, whatever. Watch it, but you just need literally one good day to like change your momentum and like start doing things this way. And even if like things are still gonna come at your way, like you're always gonna have problems. But it's just like, I know so many people, like I know that some people want to just chill out and yada yada, but I also know a lot of people, this is what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about obviously the people that just are chill people and they want to have a family and they want to be a teacher, because that's what my parents are. You know what I'm saying? Like they both like just wanted to have a family and be teachers and be whatever. But like, I know a lot of creative people and I don't know, creative, athletic, like this MMA thing that, and the only reason I'm doing it is because I just know it, like being I mean, what'd you weigh in high school? 165, 170? I was like 160, 165. Yeah. And
160, 165.
Whenever, you know, like wrestling with bigger guys or smaller guys, we never always did just fine. Like we always did drills and whatever, just fine. You know, so yeah, I did had some success in like Army combatants. So I think we'll try this out. You know what I'm saying? But I think everybody,
there's some potential.
Well, it's something that like was just never an avenue. You know what I'm saying? For
like learning like martial arts. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, or anything in our high school or towns or anything. Definitely wasn't the thing.
Yeah, it's typically not. You're gonna have to go out of your own way to find that sort of thing in high school. There aren't too aren't too many people who went that route or were allowed to go that route or had that opportunity for sure.
No. Well, also, like, of course, anybody who is telling you to go all in on one sport doesn't care about you, they care about themselves or something. You know what I'm saying? But like, um, it's just like such a simple. Okay, what I'm trying to say is everybody like just I'm talking about has just been beaten, and like they just said, I'm done, defeated. I'm gonna work this server job and have no plan, and I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying, like smoke weed and watch Netflix every day, and not work towards anything. That's like no plan. It's like the mindset. It's just like
I feel like people kind of forget. People kind of forget where they started. They forget the thoughts they had that they thought were going to take them somewhere because life, you can get kind of carried away with life a lot of the time.
well,
So people kind of forget about their dreams or their aspirations. They don't pay as much attention to them anymore because, I mean, sometimes at the end of the day, I'm dead tired and I don't have any, like, the only thing I'll be thinking about is how shitty that day was that I just had, you know? Don't even have the energy to think about something new or growing something or investing something. Like, I'm just thinking about, wow, that was a really bad day and I need to sleep it off or forget about it or distract myself somehow. And people forget to distract themselves with something that's going to make them better eventually.
yeah, they get it. Shit, but
Ain't that bad. Don't believe what they
well,
tell
the
you.
deal is
It
like,
ain't that
man,
bad.
that's the deal about like making money work for you. It's like as long as you made good decisions when it counted, then even if you have a bad day, then it's gonna come back because you're doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it goes all the way to like religion or whatever. Like you do the right thing, karma, whatever, and eventually you'll be fine. Like
Yeah, do the things that make you uncomfortable.
if you
Like
have enough,
if there's
and also like if you had a bad day, you're probably and and if you had like 10 different, okay, let's just say you had like okay, you go to jujitsu or your MMA or whatever, right? And then you go to work, and then um, you get off and you do like a podcast or you do um, anything. I don't know. You name it. Whatever hobby you want to do, right? If you're like an artist, a musician, or like whatever creative thing that you got, like, or you know what I'm saying? And
yeah.
even like playing video games, like millionaires. There's millionaires out there. You know what I'm
You can
saying?
make
Even
bank.
like people,
You can
yes,
make bank doing
even
that.
so,
If you divert yourself to a certain thing, and it's not completely useless. Like people find a niche for things that they're good at. You just kind of gotta find something you're good at, not just sit there and watch TV all day. Because I mean, everybody's good at watching TV.
and I'm like I said, guilty as anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I I just man, you're 23, right? Are you
24.
24? I think 24.
Recently,
So
I forgive you.
okay, reason to leave, right? Especially if I treat my body, if we treat our bodies and whatever decently, decent, which we work out, we take, I take my vitamins, whatever, and just with medical whatever, I'm sure I will live to be 100, and
It's very
even if I
possible.
don't, it'll be yeah. So let's just say that not even a quarter of your life, not even a quarter of our life yet. You know what I'm saying?
You still got a lot of prime to go, honestly.
Well, we're not 25 yet. Even you can look at it that like 25 is when the male brain finishes developing. You know what I'm saying? The
But
female
does not
brain is
stop
about
learning.
21, but since the male brain is so much more developed,
Yeah.
and it takes four more years. Exact opposite view of what people want to tell you and say, oh well, women mature faster. No, they don't have as much to. No, but
rewind.
yeah. But man, it's hard. It's hard not to make fun of a little bit, like, because you just hear what it's funny. And you can make fun of anybody. I make fun of myself, but like Gary V, he's a fun one. Like, he's fired up, and everybody loves to give him shit. Flip couches, baseball cards, whatever. But dude, like, if that is your route, like, do it. But all those guys, Grant Cardone, that's a solid one. I like my boy Grant. 50, you know what I'm saying? 55 or whatever, however old he is, I don't know. But like, it does not take, and oh man, like, to get a black belt in freaking jiu-jitsu, or you talk to, like, you listen to any stand-up comedian talk about, like, stand-up comedy, 10 years.
They say it takes about 10 years to become
10 years to become a master
an expert
or
at
anything.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So like
1,000 hours.
So like what? It's not gonna happen like that, bro.
It takes time. Anything takes time. You just gotta get started and not stop. Problem is, people get started
like,
and then
okay,
they stop.
If you've been doing something, Willow, get over here. Go get your spot. If you've been doing something for like 5 years and it's gone nowhere, okay, yeah, trash that. Also, don't let that be the only thing.
You gotta be smart about it,
working on. Don't let that be the only thing you're working on. That's what I'm saying, like stocks, real estate.
You also got to be kind of realistic.
Like literally, like,
just realistic about it. You got to have realistic expectations about it. Otherwise, you're just leading yourself down the wrong path, and once again, you're just wasting your time. It's
and realistic expectations.
It's like you got to find what you're good at. You got to experiment.
Not saying realistic as in like. I know what you're saying. I think. Tell me if I'm wrong, but not realistic as in like don't have, big stupid dreams like.
If you're 5'1" and 120 pounds, don't try and be an NFL linebacker.
Okay, yes, that, but like also the
you gotta be able to know yourself. You gotta be able to see yourself from the outside.
Well, it's not gonna be overnight. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna be easy.
That too.
Anything you do. So like if you're going to not even try, like I know many people are not trying anything right now that I know. You know what I'm saying? You hop on. Do you still have Facebook?
Do I?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like everybody's still got Facebook. Yeah.
Still got Facebook. Well, some people still don't have Twitter anymore, and yada yada. I see a bunch of people that just have old accounts.
Yeah, no.
I don't know if Facebook
not Twitter.
Dude, people ain't doing shit, and I know that's like cool or whatever, but like also at the same time, man, like I gotta, my parents made decent money being teachers, not like stupid money, but dude, looking back, like we were eating fish sticks and ramen, like they made horrible decisions with their money. And like with the house, I mean, we had like a common that electric bill every month. I mean, like it was ridiculous. And
you told me about them.
And then you add in like mom's medical stuff, and then it's just over the top. So stuff happens, but you got to be prepared. You got to be, especially like if you're in our age, right? Like Gen Z here, you have got to be
debatable.
Because that's what I'm saying. People see that linear thing, that that 10 to 15 or whatever, and it's especially it just taught me a lot when I had a top secret clearance in signals intelligence analyst in the Army, right? And analysts, right? Like they taught us to see patterns and or whatever, and think analytically. And a lot of math was involved. I hate math, but I did like it. It was practical because it's not like this. Oh, algebra teach you this. It's like practical.
You can use it. You're actually using it. There's actually a purpose for it. It matters. It actually matters.
Well, no, it's also just not boring like school was.
So it does sound quite a bit more interesting.
Don't get me started on that. Yeah, my mom.
I won't.
I think we should cut school hours by like 50%. So like she's way.
50%.
She's more on it.
I'm down.
But,
I'm in.
Yeah. What was that? What was my point? What was I saying? Oh,
Talking about the analyst
people
thing.
don't just like the stock market and everything else with percentage, right? Percentage makes it do this nonlinear, and that's why everybody's freaking out on this COVID things and they don't work with these nonlinear graphs that do these curves and this and that or whatever.
Scary.
They only work
Curvy graphs are scary, man.
They work with that
Yeah.
month to month.
Nobody wants to mess
linear
with that.
things, and well, they don't. Nobody's like taught. You taught like this very like straightforward type math, and like and everything is kind of like just like everything's left to right, political, binary is whatever. Everything's one or
Everybody's
the
taught
other.
the
Like
same thing.
that's all that people can think because it's like, oh, it's either 10 an hour or 15 an hour. Like no, it's
Well, it's the only thing that's taught.
people just don't. It's something about like I did like a dive on it a while ago, but it's something with the human brain. That's what I was trying to
It's
say.
math psychology.
The human brain thinks in a linear type. That's why we see time as we saw time as linear and this and that or whatever. It's like
Our perceptions,
in there. So like you have to be literally taught to, if you don't have a knack for it, which like I do have a knack for it, that's why I did that job. But like if you don't have a knack for it, like you have to be taught it. Like and well, people had better, people were way better than me. I failed. I got recycled a couple times, but I made it through. Let's go. Yeah, man. Like nobody thinks about it like that way. And man, time. If you add time to anything, if you add time to like $500, if you're doing it correctly with 10 to 15% on the stock market or better, versus like your 0.5%, which is nothing. So nothing on your savings account. 0.5% is nothing. So, you get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
If people just flooded their stuff into Apple or flooded their stuff into Ford versus like their savings account, like just how different that alone would be. Like people think in a linear deal, bro.
No doubt. No doubt.
Well, and sorry, my point is like right now is the time to prepare and everything, because as more responsibilities come, and take risks like that with your money, so that and I'm not saying go buy lotto tickets and crap like that. It's obviously stupid, but like now is the time to take risks with your money and buckle down and hustle, because you're young and you got the energy and you got the ideas and you got the lack of responsibilities. Like, dude, just 10 years down the road, you got a kid, dude. That's half your shit is out the window.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Why is there a farmhouse sign in your house? Why does it say farmhouse?
Hey, my
That's what she chose as the decoration?
Yeah, one of them.
One of them? Is that the best one?
Or
basic?
Yeah. Lauren is the most basic. I'm talking like Chick-fil-A, Whataburger, Domino's. That's it.
Starbucks.
Strict diet. Yeah. Well, she actually wasn't big on that until she started working.
No, well, it's pretty good. It's expensive, but it's pretty good. It's not bad coffee, for sure. I spent some money there. I'm guilty. I'll get it free. I'll get it for free, too. But
vanilla bean frap.
Vanilla bean frap? Oh, God.
Like sugar.
I don't know if that sounds, I don't know about that. If it has frap in it, I'm a little shaky.
So, man, think about all the things. Now you got me on education. Like, think about all the things that, okay, for example, the food pyramid. Food pyramid
is whack.
Was made by the Agricultural Society. It was not made by health anything. So like it's got grains at the bottom. Like
so much bread, bro.
I have
bread.
I have rheumatoid arthritis. Okay, so I started.
You have it right now? Since when?
I've had it since I was 16.
What?
I
Since you were
know, yeah.
16? You
That's when I
kidding
got
me?
diagnosed. Yeah.
Like in your hands?
Well, my mom
You
has
talking
it.
about like in your hands?
It's in my lower back, so it's actually everywhere. I
Oh,
pop
like your
everywhere,
spine?
buddy.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
yeah. I
it's in
mean,
my
I
lower
popped
spine.
too, but that's rheumatoid arthritis. You're kidding me. There's no way.
I had it. Yeah. No, not just popping. Rheumatoid arthritis is like an autoimmune disease that attacks your joints. So like the
How'd
most
you even
common one is
find out?
osteo. I had lower back pain. I went to the doctor. He tested me. Um,
Okay.
but the most common one is osteoarthritis or something like that. And
The
that's where like
bones.
it's just like the deterioration of your joints, but like mine is my immune system attacking it. So technically, actually, I am at risk for this fucking COVID bullshit, but because I have my immune system is
Severe risk?
compromised.
Don't
Well,
worry, man.
that would be like one of the conditions, but because it's like hinders your immune system. Anyway,
Yeah.
dude, I just noticed like not eating bread. Anytime I don't eat bread or sugar, like I
Feel a lot better.
vanishes,
Yeah. Feel a lot better.
absolutely vanishes. And I've been
There's a
at
lot of
like,
perks.
well, this is what makes me think like I want to do this MMA thing and yada yada, because I know that I've been at like pretty high athletic competition standards, like my body, like, especially like there's this one time when I was in the army, I was lifting as much as I was everything in high school, and I could run all day, ruck all day, like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
but I was eating. I just remember always feeling so like, 'cause I was trying to gain weight, you know, I was always trying to gain weight, and
Big time.
I, dude, I would drink like protein shakes,
Still are.
PB&Js, whatever, and I was just always like bloated and tired and whatever. And now I've been gaining weight since I've been like after it the past like few weeks or whatever. Like I gained 10 pounds in the last 2 weeks. So
It's a lot.
in the last few days I've gained another 2. So, but it's like protein intake. Like, dude, the amount of protein in this in chicken, like 8 ounces of chicken, is like 70 grams. Like it is unreal. And
In 8 ounces of chicken or in 16
in
ounces of chicken?
8 ounces of chicken, bro, 70 grams of protein.
That's almost a waste of protein, you know?
And yeah, I try not to eat that much. 8 ounces is a good
At
amount.
a time anyway.
Well, also like fasting, like, you know, everything, all the vegan and whatever, anything like that tells you like eat 5 meals a day or whatever, all this stuff for like weight loss. It's like, no way, bro. Like I am leaner than I've ever been, gaining weight, and like the workouts I do, I'm trying to hit 1,000 calories an hour by like lifting weights, and I've come pretty close like a couple times. So like,
I've seen the updates.
getting back up there. I'm getting back up there. You know what I'm saying? But also like the physical prime of like a male human is like 30. So
depending on what you're doing, and it's still different for every individual.
That's
but yeah, around there.
Strength and
around
endurance
there.
and 30 years old, yeah. And and
no doubt.
You got time, bro. And there's so many things out there that, like, you know, the only avenues that we were presented were like football and this and that. Man, I'm rambling.
High school sports, yeah.
And
ramble on.
Well, I just like I'm that idea of like how just one dimensional everything was presented to us. It's just blowing my mind.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a one track system most of the time.
Well, and like most
but people get derailed so easily.
Well, even if you go get a degree, you're in $100,000, $200,000 debt because
that's the track.
The
that's
price
the track
of education
right
has tripled in like the last 10 or 20 years or whatever it is.
That's the one track. It's a scam. It's a huge scam.
Oh my God. I sold a car to a chemistry professor lady. She made 36 grand a month. 36 grand a month.
No way.
For a chemistry professor at Texas A&M.
Well, they got money. They got fat money over there, so I believe that.
It doesn't matter.
Also,
It's
chemistry.
the
Yeah,
point. That's when you.
it's
Once you start
inflated. It's very
knowing,
inflated.
once you start knowing shit like that, yeah. Then you start seeing like what the university has been doing to everybody and shit. That's where like you heard all that. Have you ever heard of the Evergreen College incident?
Evergreen College?
Mm-hmm.
No, I've never heard of it.
Oh boy. You know what the International Dark Web is, right? What's that?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I think everybody's heard of that who like knows anything.
Okay, so Brett Weinstein, he's in it, right? You know who
Yeah.
that is?
Yeah.
He was a professor at Evergreen College in like 2017, and that's where like these students like had this uprising of like BLM and like whatever else. Hey Willow, go get in your room. And he's just been harping on it now, like all this stuff that he said was going to leak out from the university. He's coming here. It's like a bureaucracy, and my point is like universities are definitely more of a business, and politics have wrapped into
It
everything.
is.
Like that's what
They
I'm
are
talking about.
businesses.
And
there's no doubt about it.
Education is a business for sure, and
Yeah.
and public
Once you get out of high
education
school,
is
well,
like
even in high
I
school,
don't
is
even
too.
know, such garbage. Like public education is such garbage. Like you got so many kids
Pretty bad.
wasting
Especially
all their time.
Countries. These kids don't even care about it. They're forced to go. They don't even care about it. Like the school's getting all this money for it. So many kids are falling in and out of the system. Like, most of the kids who went to high school, like, I mean,
Well, my dad ran the alternative school pathway,
know.
so like you definitely see like
Pathways.
just the same mistakes over and over and over and over again. Yeah. And people want to talk about
For a multitude of reasons, but I mean, for a multitude of reasons, they're being addressed by the same system that is not comprehensive enough to be able to deal with all the reasons that these kids aren't being successful. It's very one-dimensional, as you said.
Yeah,
it's just not comprehensive enough.
And when you've got a teacher,
like you have to conform to the system,
you've got a teacher-student ratio
chew you up and spit you out.
1 to 15. You got a student-teacher ratio that's anything from bigger than like 1 to 15. That is like corralling management. That is not. Not teaching.
Well, we had like 30 people to a classroom, and like, how are you supposed to learn anything? Like in college, you have 200 people to some classrooms, and that's absurd to me as well. Like you're supposed to sit there and learn.
And it's one professor that is getting a ton of money, and it's all the administrators that are just getting a ton of money because there's only a few of them. And that's what I'm saying. And it's the same thing with like, dude. You look at like hospitals. Same thing as a business, dude. Like everything is such a business. It's so ridiculous. And that's the issues that the government is supposed to get involved in. When things that affect public life like that become so corrupted like that, you're supposed to break down whatever monopoly is there. And that's why things like that happen.
That doesn't happen though. People encourage monopolies.
Well, monopoly or
businesses encourage it. They love it. They live for it. They live for gathering that monopoly. The higher ups, the up and ups, the powers that be.
That's the goal to any small business. That's the goal to any small business or any business out there is to get to the top.
They will say they don't. They will say they don't do it. They will say they don't encourage it. But that is their one and only goal, is to control the whole thing.
Well, yeah, they want to be number one at whatever they're doing. That's what. Yeah, like and everybody wants to make as much money as possible. But like that's when the government.
The beauty of capitalism, but it's like, it also screws a lot of people.
Hey, you're $1 trillion company is affecting this and that, whatever. But things like healthcare, like
that's bad.
Not an easy answer.
Bad.
But what's it called?
They just don't do it. That's my answer. Just don't do that shit.
Well, it's not like
it's too much.
It's gotta be. It costs more money for like medicine in America than anywhere else. Like in the world. And
it's absurd here. Medicine and healthcare and all this stuff, like it's absurd.
Yeah. Well, you look at like, okay, how much do like nurses make a good amount? But like in the hospital, right? You got you got like how many doctors? Like I know in the ER there's like 4 or 5. Literally. Like there's not that many, and they're just I don't even know what the hell insurance is about, like, because you'll pay.
Besides the fact that it's mandatory.
Well, I mean, you can't even have like conversation about it because as soon as because everybody wants to talk about one or two things, it's like universal healthcare or uh, just straight up private. It's like um, Trump said something about just making the medical places compete because it's so like you got to go to the place that's like to you or whatever, and you got to use your certain insurance thing, whatever. And he just said lift up the state line.
So they can charge you whatever they want.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he said lift up the state line so that they all have to compete with each other because everybody has to insurance. So it's like basically you ought to be able to shop for your health care just like you shop for everything else. Like,
no doubt. It's almost not even capitalism anymore. The way the healthcare system is.
Corporatism.
Like capitalism is how it got where it is now. But now that it is where it is, there's no competition. There's no everything is price gouged out the wazoo, and you know the people who need the healthcare are the ones getting totally screwed out of it, or having to pay half of what they earn to get it.
I like Andrew Yang's thing about the $1,000 universal basic income. It's not enough for anybody to live off of, but some people do it. You know what I'm saying? But like, some people figure out how to do it.
You can live off of it, but it's tough.
It'll definitely pay for your groceries and pay for your rent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it'll get you to next month. That's it.
Well, half of the cost he said is like basically eaten up by like current welfare already. So it's like, okay, we're paying half that current already, so like let's do it. But yeah,
man. All right. Well, I don't know about you, but I would say that was a pretty good first little episode / trial run.
Yeah.
Whoa. Cat makes an appearance.
Oh
nice.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Gorgeous cat.
More of that.
Gorgeous cat. What's up, Oliver?
Well, like, I am glad that we were able to do this. It probably sucked.
It's about time. I don't think it was that bad. Bad. It could have been worse.
Definitely hit some
could have been much worse.
I definitely want to go more into like, not just talking about kind of catching up and talking about what's going on, but talking about like, man, what really have we learned? Like definitely with you, like with the health and like everything, all kinds of different things, like that just, like I said, was not taught correctly or anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely want to go more into stuff like that we're more knowledgeable about. But
better start brainstorming soon. Let's make this like at least a once a week thing or so, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We got time.
Is that like especially? Yeah, I mean, doing 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever. Like anybody can do it, and like the 10 years thing. Like, yeah, this is episode 1 or whatever, but there will be more, and they will get better, just like anything else.
It will be glorious, and hopefully there will be a huge.
My point is, I wanted to start it right. I wanted to start it right here, and because like I'll definitely get more into like the situation of I live with my girlfriend and her sister, and we all live in this house. And
I cannot wait.
2 dogs.
I cannot wait to hear about all of that.
And trying to go be a cop right now, whatever. But among all the other things, but like, man, the things that I and I know that you have had to deal with and experience, and the different paths that we've had to take versus like the normal person that I know, right? Like, just so many of them, right? The same situation. Just either off like mama's pit or like whatever you want to, not can't get out of hometown or like whatever, just stuck somewhere. And
We're gonna expose them. It will be exposed.
well, not even that, dude. Like everybody gets stuck somewhere, and I'm stuck in plenty of different ways. But it's like, dude, just keep different things going. You know what I'm saying?
Keep driving.
Start up different things, try different things, because they're like I said, we haven't even lived a quarter of our life. Me and your brains aren't even developed yet, so it's like.
But we're getting there.
Plenty to go, plenty of time. I think plenty of time.
And there's another first step today. There's another first step.
All right, brother. Well, have a good night.
All right, you too.